Hello and Merry Christmas. I'm Brad Phillips here with Puppy Steps Training, and I've got Teddy in the crate behind me. Very excited to do his demonstration for you. He is just a very, very sweet guy. We've really enjoyed training Teddy. He just has a wonderful temperament, absolutely loves to be pet, loves to be snuggled, but is still very obedient and really willing to work. So he's got a really nice mix of both. Loves to run around and play, but also just likes to shut everything down and take a nap. So he's just a really nice middle of the road puppy, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy him. So I'm super excited to get him out and show you everything that he has learned. So first off, I did send you that link to the first informational video that goes over my 3 keys to success, my expectations with potty training as well as crate training. So make sure that you've watched that video first. Especially those 3 keys that kind of outlines everything that we are going to be doing. You're going to see me follow through, manage, as well as be consistent with Teddy. So in this video, we're going to cover his manners first and foremost. So we'll pull him out of the crate, we'll go through all those manners, then we'll do his obedience commands, at which point we'll switch angles and we will do his leash work to finish everything off. So like I said, Teddy's doing great. I'm super excited to pull him out and show you. The first manner that we are going to start with is his gates and his doorways. So anytime I let Teddy out of the crate, we go through a gate outside or a kennel door or any closed door. I expect Teddy to hold an automatic stay. So I don't have to tell him anything. It's just when I open that door, he's expected to wait at that threshold. If he did try and break through, then I will simply correct him and have him do it again. So it's very important, no matter the threshold, if Teddy thinks that he can beat you through it, then we need to go and get him and have him do it again. We don't want him thinking that if he's sneaky enough or if he's fast enough, he doesn't have to wait at these thresholds. Now, in your home, you can create this expectation with any threshold that you would like. Bare minimum, my recommendation is that you keep this for anytime he comes out of the crate or we go through an exterior door. Those are going to be 2 times where we know that he's very excited. However, we've been doing that here with any closed door or gate. So as I let him out of the crate, if he tries to come out, I might simply just close that door. I will also tell him no most of the time, but I'm never going to tell him to wait or stay. When we go through the house door here, if he tried to run through, I usually have a leash attached so I can pop that, or I can use my foot and just block him. Teddy's been doing great with these thresholds though. It's just if he thinks that he can get away with it, we do need to make sure that we follow through and we help him succeed. So I'm gonna let him out now and hook a leash on, and then I am gonna have him come over and ring the bells. So that way you'll see him ring the bells, and then I'll take him out to the bathroom before we get him real excited and running around in here. Okay, good boy, good boy. So I don't care what position he's in. He doesn't need to sit. I know, good boy. He doesn't need to sit. He doesn't need to lay down. He just needs to show me that he is in control and he's not trying to just rush through. Okay, outside, good boy. So there he rang the bells. I'm gonna give him a treat. Okay, good boy, with ringing the bells the first 2 days that I have him home. And then after that, remember, we're not going to give him a treat for ringing the bells anymore. It's just when he goes to the bathroom. I don't know if you can see him from that angle, but Teddy's just sitting here. He's patiently looking at me, waiting for me to release him through. So when I'm ready for him to come through, I'll say, okay, good boy. And he's able to come through. So same expectation for coming inside. He needs to show that he's under control and he's not just trying to rush through that doorway. He doesn't have to sit, however, that's what he's doing right now. Okay, good boy. So once again, with all of these manners, your home, your rules, I'm gonna show you what we have done and tell you what our expectations are. Bare minimum though, in your home, keep this expectation at exterior doors and coming out of the crate. Those are 2 times where you know that he's going to be excited, and sometimes you don't know what distraction lies on the other end of the door. So our next manner that we're going to show you is Teddy's greeting. So we've taught Teddy that if he wants my attention or if he's approaching me, he needs to sit in order to get my attention. So it's a replacement behavior for jumping. It helps him understand that he has a job. It's also keeping him under control so he's not just jumping up on everyone. Now, I'm gonna first demonstrate an exercise to really help this transition over to your home. So everybody that's gonna have regular interactions with Teddy, so everybody in your family, needs to do this exercise a couple times a day for the next 3 days. So this is gonna help Teddy start to engage with you, so he's gonna pay attention. It's also gonna be very rewarding for Teddy because it's a simple exercise that he can be successful with, and he's gonna see you he's gonna get treats from you, and you're gonna start helping him understand that you have the same expectations that I do, as well as that you are his new family. So the exercise you're gonna do is you're gonna take your treat bag and you're gonna take the leash. I'm just gonna say his name, take a few steps backwards, and then wait for him to sit down. So I'm going to do this 3 times in a row, and on the third one, I typically won't give him a treat, I'll just pet him. So what that looks like is I'll say, Teddy, I'm gonna take a few steps back. He sits, okay, good boy. I'll tell him, okay, give him the treat. Teddy. So I'll stop walking, okay, good boy. And on the third one, Teddy. Okay, good boy. I'll go down and pet him. Oh, yeah, you're a good boy. So it's a very, very simple exercise, but like I said, it's very fun and rewarding for Teddy. Something simple that he can be successful with, and he can start to kind of recognize you and your family. Oh, good boy. Now, Teddy doesn't have to sit every single time that I want to pet him, but this is great for regular check-ins just to make sure that we're under control. Once again, it is a replacement behavior for jumping. However, if you're just hanging out and he comes over, he doesn't have to sit. You can go ahead and pet him. I do make sure that he presents this greeting anytime that I've been away or that he's just very excited, so that way I can help him be under control and that he can, once again, be calm and not just jumping all over everybody. You're gonna treat him very heavily for this, so anytime he does approach you and he sits down, make sure that you tell him he's doing a good job and reward him. This is a behavior that we've started to wean treats off already because the reward for him is just getting my attention. I go down and pet him, I make sure to recognize that he's being a very good boy. But for the first few weeks, you wanna make sure that you are giving him regular rewards for this behavior. So that way, once again, he starts to transition over and see you as the leader. Yeah, you're a good boy. Now, if he does jump, I'm gonna step into him and tell him off. So I'll bring my knee up. I'm not looking to kick him. I'm never extending my foot. It's just a quick shift in my body language, telling him, hey, I don't appreciate that. It is important that we do step into him and we don't step back, because if a puppy is going to jump and we start stepping back, that's basically an invitation to him to jump on us and to follow us. If you notice that initial exercise, when I step back, he follows. If I step into him, he backs up. So by stepping into him, I'm restricting the space. I'm telling him, hey, this is my bubble. You've got to respect it. So we step in, bring our knee up, tell him off. Now, if I'm down here and he tries to jump up on me, if he puts a paw up here, I'm going to say off and scoot him away. I can set you up, But I do need to make sure that I scoot him away and remove my hands, and then I look for a little check-in. So by removing my hands, I'm showing him, once again, that I didn't appreciate that, and I'm not going to continue giving you affection if you're going to jump on me. So that wasn't harsh, that wasn't mean. It was just a simple push away, take my hands away, wait for him to be under control. I know. His favorite thing is getting his belly rubbed. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good boy. Like I said, very, very affectionate and loves to be pet. He's just going to be a really great little dog. So if he jumps up, off, take my hands away. If he's jumping up on like the couch or anything that he's not supposed to, a lot of times when I tell him off, I might clap, just something to really drive that point home. Oh, good boy. So I expect this behavior with everybody in my family. I want to make sure that he's being polite, he's under control. With children, if I'm introducing him, sometimes doing that exercise can be difficult for them, just handling the leash and a treat. So sometimes in that case, I will walk Teddy up and then wait for him to sit, and then they can reward him. Teddy. So that way, if he does jump, I can use the leash and correct him. Good boy. And for strangers, well, there's a couple things with strangers. So one, I don't care about other people and their relationship with my dog. Because what's important to me is my relationship with Teddy. So when you're out on a walk, when you're out in public, there's going to be people that say, oh my gosh, your dog's so cute, can I pet him? Which is fine. However, 95% of the time, I tell people no. Because what happens is we say, okay, and Teddy gets to go over there, he starts jumping, and you go to correct him, and people say, no, it's okay, I love dogs, it's okay if he jumps, which now is teaching him that, oh, I can jump on strangers. Or he gets out of control, and it's just difficult for us to correct our dog in front of people we don't know, or even people we do know. So now he learns, oh, strangers are exciting, I don't have to listen. And now from here on out, every time you go on a walk and he sees somebody, he thinks that they're here to see him, and so now you have a dog that pulls and gets out of control when he sees somebody on the street. So it's far more beneficial that you practice engaging with Teddy and having him ignore people as they walk past versus meeting everybody. So that's why I say 95% of the time, if somebody asks you, you just say, no, he's in training, and you step to the side and you engage with him. So once again, he learns that it's very positive focusing on you while strangers pass, because he's getting pet and he's getting treats, and it's a very rewarding experience. And all of those good things come from you, not from the stranger. Now, the 5% of time where you're okay with somebody meeting him, maybe it's somebody you know, maybe they've got little kids, and sometimes I have a hard time saying no to the little kids that want to pet the puppies. So in that case, I say, yes, you can meet him. This is Teddy. However, he needs to be in control in order for you to pet him. And so then I'll walk Teddy up to them. I'll stop 5 or 6 feet short. Teddy. I'll have him sit for me. I'll tell him, oh, good boy. I'll give him a treat, pet him, and then invite those people up. But if Teddy gets out of control, I'm going to tell him no, and I'm going to walk away, even if that's just 10 feet, regain his focus, and then try again. If he starts to jump, I'm going to tell him no and pop that leash. Get a little distance, reset, and try again. If he can't be under control, then he doesn't get pet. Because otherwise, he's just going to figure out, oh, once again, with people that aren't my family, I can be out of control and I get away with it. So, Teddy, good boy. So that's greeting strangers. The other part of this with his greeting, so obviously Teddy's a little guy. He looks twice as big as he is because of all this hair. He's ready for a haircut. But because he's small, he thinks sometimes that he needs to rear up to get the treat. He needs to meet me halfway because I'm too tall. Teddy. And so if he rears up, I'm going to pull that treat away and tell him no. He needs to have all 4 paws on the ground when he takes a treat. He also needs to be very soft with his mouth. So if he rears up, if he gets a little too excited over the treat, I'm going to pull it away and tell him gently. Teddy has a very soft mouth. I don't worry about him being too excited with his mouth, but it's just important that he is very cautious. And in general, when I give puppies treats, I give it to them in the palm of my hand, and I tuck it underneath my thumb. So that way I can control when they get the treat, and I can make sure that they're being soft. Little children always want to give puppies treats between their thumb and forefinger, and that's just asking them to nip their fingers. So we don't typically give him treats like that, but we have been doing that as practice. Teddy, come here. Where I can tell him gently, and he's going to be very soft taking that treat. Yeah, that's a good boy. Yeah, that's a good dog. So all of that's kind of attached to the greeting. So you have jumping, gently, and obviously the actual act of greeting. Now we're going to move on to mealtime manners. So anytime I feed Teddy, I expect him to hold an automatic sit-stay. So I shouldn't have to tell him sit or stay. Usually if I shake that bowl and he's standing, he'll just plant himself. Often he'll lay down. Teddy. So I'm going to get him up here so we can see. So I shake that food bowl, lift it up over his nose, and then just set it down. If at any point he breaks, that food bowl comes back up. But he does great with this. Okay, good boy. Good boy. So I want to make sure that he's very comfortable with me being around his food. I don't sit there and take away his food all the time. I know having that leash on makes a funny sound. I don't take his food bowl away very much because that would drive me crazy if somebody just came up and took my food from me. However, sometimes I'll throw treats in his bowl. Sometimes I pet him. I just want to make sure that he's not going to tense up or guard his food at all, which I have never seen that behavior out of Teddy. He is just very, very sweet. Oh, yeah. Oh, good boy. If he walks away from his food, I take it away. So he doesn't get to just graze. That's how you get obese dogs. So instead I feed him, I give him a few minutes to eat, but if he walks away, I take it away. The only exception there is if he walks away to go get a drink of water. At that point, I'll let him come back and keep eating. So, yeah, those are his feeding manners. Kind of going along with it, I want to make sure that he doesn't have any type of resource guarding, aggression, especially towards me. So we've spent a lot of time on handling Teddy. I've clipped his nails multiple times. I'm actually going to hopefully get around to trimming his paw pads today. I trimmed around his eyes. We spent a lot of time with the blow dryer and just overall handling him, making sure he's comfortable being kind of put through all the grooming regimen as well as vet and uncomfortable situations like with kids, which I think Teddy just loves all of it because he's being handled. He loves being pet. He loves being held. He's just a very, very affectionate guy. So he's been great with being handled. Oh, yeah, you good boy. This also includes toys, bully sticks, anything like that. Okay, good boy. I want to make sure that he's not going to play keep away with me. He's not going to guard against me trying to take his toys or his bully sticks. I just want to make sure that he's very comfortable with me being around his things. When I play with him with the toys, this is when I work on the drop it command, which is just incorporating myself into his play. Teddy, drop it. Good boy. Okay. So when I ask for a drop it, he lets go of it. I tell him good, and then I can take it away. I don't want him thinking he can reach in and quickly grab it as soon as I say good. And then when I throw it, I say okay. Teddy loves our rugs, so every time we play, he goes to a different rug to lay down and chew on his things. So I'm gonna have to walk over here to get him. Teddy, drop it. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. We'll try and keep him on this side of the room. So this way, working on the drop it command, it's very positive. He gets it back, and honestly, by dropping it, I make it more exciting. He gets to chase the toy. So want to keep this a very fun game. If he ever ignores me, so if I said drop it and he continued to chew on it, then I would take it away. I'll give him a split second to process. If he doesn't, I'll say no, take it away. Teddy, drop it. Good boy. Okay, good boy. Now, with the toys, so he always gets the toy back. I never give him a treat here. I never mix toys and treats. I don't want him losing focus on the toy and only paying attention to the treats, because then I diminish this toy drive, which the toy drive is very important for a dog. It's a great way to burn off some energy as well as some of that, just mental buildup throughout the day. So the toy is always the reward here. However, if we had a bully stick or he picked something up that was, maybe something dead outside or some garbage, at that point when he drops it, I will replace it with a treat, because I want him to know that he did the right thing and there's some type of reward coming. But in this case, with the toy is the reward. If he's chewing on something he's not supposed to, like baseboards or shoes or anything like that, if it's something that he can carry away, I can use the drop it command. So like a shoe, I could ask him to drop it, and then I would replace it with something that is appropriate for him to chew on. But if it's like a baseboard or a table leg, something that he can't really carry off, I'm just going to tell him no, and then I'll manage that. So I'm just going to make sure that he has something to chew on and that I'm not leaving him, unsupervised where he could destroy something. But anytime I do ask him to leave something alone or to drop it, something that he was chewing on that he's not supposed to, I will always give him something like a toy or a bully stick, just something in return, so I can replace what he was chewing on. So, Now, it's also important when Teddy's around little kids and they're wanting to play with him that we do have a toy available. Because otherwise, if we don't have anything for him to actually play with or chew on, then he's going to go for an arm or a pant leg or a shoe, which a lot of people see as biting, but he's just trying to play. And so if we have a toy, we have an easy way to direct him away from them, and we give him something that he can direct his mouth towards. So that just saves us a lot, make sure that he understands that what he's allowed to put his mouth on, which if he came up and he started biting my shoelaces or my hands or my watch band, anything like that, I will tell him no and I'll grab his muzzle. So I'm making sure that he understands that he's not allowed to put his mouth on me. Teddy, come here. Good boy, good boy. Huh? So if I was down here petting him, I know, throw that up there. So if I was down here, I was loving on him and he started mouthing on me, I would close his muzzle. So it's just a no, and then take my hands away. I'll give him a second and then I can go back to petting him again. Oh yeah, you good boy. And if he did it a second time, I'd tell him no, grab his muzzle, and now I'm going to step away. I'm going to make sure that Teddy understands that he's not allowed to put his mouth on me. If we continue to pet him, if we're like, oh no, don't do that, that's just, to Teddy, that's a really weird pet, but you're touching him, you're petting him, and so he thinks it's great. He doesn't understand that that's a correction. So it is important that we do remove our hands and we make sure he understands that correction. Okay, I believe that's all of our manners. So these are what you're going to focus on the first 3 days. Commands will come over really easy. The manners are what help us build a relationship with Teddy. So focus on them, spending time on the ground, bonding with him, helping him decompress and start to feel at home within your home. And the manners are how we do that. So just because he is under stress doesn't mean that he can get away with jumping or mouthing or chewing. We need to make sure that we help him understand what our rules are, what our expectations are, and once again, the manners are how we do that. So now we're going to jump into our obedience commands. And you can still do these first 3 days. Just take it easy, like lower your expectations and understand that he is under some stress. And so I'm going to show you like some fantastic stays, the place command, all of these. You can still do them, just, once again, lower the expectations, maybe keep distractions to a minimum, shorten the time. Just make sure that you train to success and you don't push him to failure. We don't want him getting frustrated or failing time after time after time. So with that, let's jump into these obedience commands. The first command that we're going to show you is the place command. This is my favorite command, and I think this is Teddy's favorite command too. He does so good with it. So when I ask for a place, I'm just going to say, Teddy, place. So I'm going to point to the bed. He's going to hop on. Once all 4 paws are there, I'm going to tell him, good boy, and give him a treat. Now he is expected to stay there. So Teddy will do, I think the longest I've had Teddy do is about 5 minutes there. So typically our puppies, our standard for our puppies are about 2 minutes. However, Teddy is fantastic with his place command. So when I'm practicing this command, I'm always adding new distractions. So we have what we call the 3Ds. So that's distance, duration, distraction. By adding those, we build a solid stay. So right now, Teddy is a little distracted. He's smelling something. I don't know what you smell in the air. However, this still isn't a very heavy distraction, so I'm not going to go and reinforce this near as often. Whereas if I have my 4 kids here and we've got a lot of chaos going on, I'll come over and tell Teddy, oh, good boy. And I want to make sure that I reward him for staying in place. Now, if it's just me and Teddy in here, which it is, and I'm just sitting here doing dishes, I'm not going to reinforce near as often. Whereas if I have other puppies out and we're moving around. So Teddy just makes himself comfortable, and he's really great with it. Some of the harder distractions that we've added, has been like driving an RC car around him, throwing toys, walking around him, leaving his sight. So going out of the room is a big distraction, which we can throw that in here. Good boy. So Teddy does great with this place command. So I give him, treats when he's staying, when he's showing that he's in control. But once I release him, I don't give him a treat. So I want him to think that he's going to get far more rewards by staying in that place than by breaking and coming to me. Okay, good boy, Teddy. So now I'm going to do it again. So I'll just say, Teddy, place. Good boy. So real life applications for place. I mean, I use this all the time with my dogs. However, just in a home setting. So if somebody comes to the door, that's a great time to use place. Something that needs practiced. Need to make sure that you have someone prepared to help Teddy stay in place and reinforce that. So we practice doorbell sounds and knocking and all of that, but it is going to need some continued practice in your home. He's not to a point where I could send him to place and go and talk at the door for 5 or 10 minutes. But this is a great way that you can grab a spouse or kids and actually practice this, is by having them ring the doorbell, send him to his place. Maybe you're bringing in groceries, you just need him out from underneath your feet, or you're cooking a meal. Those are great times to send him to his place. So it gives him a job to do and keeps him out from underneath your feet. Now, a big reason why we can get such length at such a young age here is that he can readjust. You notice he can stand up, he can sit down, he can lay down. I don't care what position he's in, as long as all 4 paws are on the bed. If he breaks, or when he breaks, I just tell him no and send him back. If he breaks a couple times, then I'm going to make sure that I send him back, take a few steps back before I reward him, make sure that he's stable, and then I can come up and tell him good boy and reinforce this. So we've also done this command in stores where we'll put him on a pallet, or I think they've done bags of dog food. We try and create this command that it can be universal, once again with some practice, but that anything that I point to that has a defined boundary, we can use as place. So we could use rugs, we've used boxes, we've used a hula hoop, because it has a very distinct boundary that he knows that he can't cross. So I love this command. Teddy is fantastic with just hanging out. So anyhow, love it. Okay, good boy. Good boy, Teddy. Good dog. Huh. When he comes off, you can pet him. You can love on him. I'm just not going to give him another treat. The treats come when he's staying in place. So very similar is the crate command. So I just come over and I'll say, Teddy, crate, and I'll point and give him a treat when he goes in, not when he comes out. Okay, good boy. Crate's getting small for you, huh? Crate. Good boy. Now our standard is to actually tap on the top. However, because this crate's so low, I like to get to where I can just point. Okay, good boy. Teddy, crate. Good dog. Notice that he's not staying for a super long amount of time. And that's because if he did need to stay in the crate for a long amount of time, I'm just going to close that door. Okay, good boy. Now this is a command that you want to practice far more than you use it to lock him up. If all you do is use it when you do lock him up, then he's going to understand that, and he's going to start building an aversion to the crate and not want to go in. So it's important that we just practice this random times, just to send him in, let him out, and just so he's getting some rewards, so that it's a fun game and he doesn't associate this command with being locked up and left. Huh, Teddy. Teddy, come here. Crate. So here, good. Notice he looked at me, might have been a little bit confused, so I just held my hand out. I didn't repeat the command, I just stood there. If he continued to stall, that's when I would bend down and tap. But I'm not going to repeat the command if I don't need to. Okay, good boy. So, once again with that one, gets the treat when he goes in, not when he comes out. Same thing with place. Are you a good boy, Teddy? Okay, so the next 3 commands have more distinct hand signals. So we have sit, which is a scoop over the nose. Down, I just take my hand flat and off to the side, like that. And then stay as a stop sign. Teddy, come here. Sit, down, stay. Now we have both a sit and a down stay, both of which are right around 20 seconds. We've been adding new distractions. Here we'll throw some treats on the ground. I don't think you saw this one. If he breaks, I would just tell him no and have him do it again. Okay, good boy. So obviously me just sitting here and throwing a couple treats, that's not a huge distraction. But just continue to add new variations. Teddy, sit. Nope. So here, Teddy, once again, loves the place command. Teddy, come here. So I'm going to bring him back over here. Sit. Nope. Stay. Now, if he were to lay down at this point, I'm okay with that. So he's just getting more comfortable. A down stay is more of a solid stay anyway. But I don't want him immediately laying down because I don't want him to think that the stay command actually means to lay down. So I just need to make sure that I differentiate between the two. Okay, good boy. Good boy. Teddy also just loves to guess, so he'll just start offering behaviors. And so it's important that we make sure that we get his attention and then ask for a command. And if he doesn't do it, I'm going to help him succeed. So we never end on failure. I'm always going to help him do what was asked. Teddy, come here. Sit. Down. Stay. Okay, good boy. Now these are a shorter stay. So like I said, with place, we've been doing between 2 and 5 minutes, where with these two commands, with a sit and a down stay, they're at like 20, 30 seconds. And that's because it's so position specific. He can't get up and readjust. He has to stay in that position, in that area. If he gets up and walks away, then it's a break. I tell him no, have him do it again. Now, if he breaks, once or twice, like I said, we'll tell him no, have him do it again. But if he breaks a third time, it's too hard. So whatever it is, whether it's a distraction, whether it's something that's going on internal, whatever the reasoning, doesn't matter. What we're doing is too hard. So I'm not going to push him to this point of frustration. So if he breaks 3 times in a row, I'm going to simplify it. So if I was working on a downstay and he kept breaking, my next one might only be like 2 seconds long. Or if he's struggling on laying down, I might just change my body language to help him succeed. I will adjust to the simplest form of a behavior to make sure that he's successful. Because if I just keep pushing on him and he just keeps failing, he's going to get frustrated, you're going to get frustrated, and you will diminish the command. Doesn't matter whether he did it the day before or whether he did it 5 minutes ago. At this point in time, it's too hard, so it's better to simplify, get a successful rep, and call it a day. And whether that's, waiting a couple hours and then trying again, or waiting a day and then trying again. We always just want to make sure that we help Teddy succeed. We always want to train to success. So, okay, with that, the other command that we're going to do right here is leave it. So I'm actually going to grab some of my high value rewards. And we'll go with some ham and hot dogs today. So I've thrown some treats on the floor now, letting him eat it. But now we're going to switch it up, and I'm going to put some treats on the floor and tell him he's got to leave it alone. So when I do this, when I practice, especially with food that he's been able to eat, I want to make sure that I'm going to pay him with something that's higher value. So I just want to teach him that by leaving things alone, something better is going to come instead. So this command I practice a lot in the house, and I feel like the most common times to actually use it are if we're in the kitchen cooking, we drop something he's not supposed to have, I can tell him leave it, and he should not lunge for it and grab it. The other time is on walks. There's always something gross on the road, and Teddy loves to collect it all. So in that case, if he picks something up that was gross, I could ask for a drop it and then leave it and expect him to be able to walk away. But I need to be prepared to pay him in that situation. So I'm going to grab a handful of these treats. Set him on the ground here. Leave it. So here he was kind of moving pretty quick, so I just simply stuck my foot in front of him. Good. Leave it. Come here. Good boy. So that's what I want. He chose to leave it alone. Clearly, he probably, no, Teddy, leave it. Good boy. He probably could have grabbed one or two before I was able to kind of follow through with that. So it's important that we practice. I'm very stern. I'm very, I'm giving him a command. But then as soon as he listens, I change and I've got a chipper tone. I'm very happy and I'm going to reward him for choosing to leave that alone. Good. Good boy. Leave it. Good boy. I mean, leaving some food that he's been eating, where he knows that it's a treat, knows that he gets it for doing the right thing, this is a challenging leave it. So this is great, exactly what he's doing. Good boy. Now, if we were on a walk and this was something on the road, I would tell him leave it, and I'd be like, good boy, good boy. And I'm going to sit here and just dish out the treats while we get past it. So I only asked Eddie to leave it for things that I can take him away from or I can take away from him. So I don't ask for a leave it for like the baseboards or something that he's going to have access to all the time. Okay, so that concludes our command section. Once again, I'm going to change the camera angle just so I can utilize a little bit more space, and we're going to go over the leash work. So we'll start with the heel, what to do if he pulls, what to do if he gets reactive, and then we'll do the long lead walk. During that, we'll also talk about our watch me command as well as our recall command. So I'm going to switch the camera and we'll go to that point. Good boy, Teddy. All right, so we're going to talk about our heel. Good boy, which is what we're doing now. Obviously, we're indoors and practicing with limited distractions. Heel, which is kind of what I want you to do to start. So the heel is for you. This is not how we exercise Teddy. This is how we get from point A to point B. We do the heel when we're in public or we're in a store, just any time where Teddy can't be getting overly distracted. So I use the heel when we're on a long lead walk and I see somebody coming with another dog, or maybe there's a jogger or a stroller. I'll reel him in, ask for a heel. We'll do the heel for like 2 minutes while we get past the distraction, and then he has his space back. So I do the heel in short bursts. Honestly, if we're in a store is about the longest I do a heel for, and we'll heel through an aisle and then we stop and we're browsing. He's expected to lay down and relax, and then we heel again. So it's still in short bursts where he's focused and then he can relax. So when we're in a heel, my expectations are that he's on my left side, right here next to my knee. So if he's like half a step in front of me, I'm not worried about that, or if he's half a step behind me. I just want to make sure that he's paying attention to me and that he's not getting distracted by everything around. So I literally use the heel to walk past distractions. If that's the case, if we're passing a distraction, it's going to be distracting. So we need to do something to keep his focus. So I am giving him a lot of feedback, especially where he's a puppy and this is kind of an elementary heel. I'm giving him a lot of food. I'm treating him when he's paying attention to me. I'm telling him he's a good dog. So there's just a lot of feedback. So when I start this, I'm just going to say, Teddy, heel, and start walking. And he's expected to match my pace. He needs to pay attention to me. And if he's not, I can, oh, good boy, do something to get his attention. I might say, hey, Teddy, something like that. Oh, too big of a treat. Good boy. So with him matching my pace, if I need to speed up, he should follow. Good boy. Good dog. If I need to slow down, he should follow. Good dog. Good boy. And I'm going to give him a lot of feedback. When I stop, I expect him to stop. Teddy, heel. So that one, he kind of ventured a little bit in front of me, so we're going to reset this. Good boy, Teddy. Good boy. So when I stop, good boy, he sits down. which Teddy will usually then lay down. So anyway, that's the expectation with the heel. It's very simple, but out of everything that we taught him, this is one that's going to take a lot of practice to transition over to the same level. And that's because it's so relationship based. If Teddy's going to ignore another dog barking at him on a leash, he better know that you're in charge. And so you have to develop this relationship based on trust and based on you being the leader before he's going to just put all of his trust in you. So practice, practice, practice. I start out with limited distractions, so that's why we always start out in this big room once he's doing well there. Then we'll go outside when there's not anybody around, and we're just going to go back and forth, just rewarding him paying attention to me, focusing on me, and then we add heavier distractions as we go. This week I've been having him heel with my 2 dogs just running around circles around us, and he's been doing very, very well. Teddy loves people and loves my kids. I feel like that might be the hardest distraction as children. And so it's important to recognize that and say, you know what, let's go and let's just walk near the park and just go back and forth with high value rewards, just really practicing so that he understands that it doesn't matter the distraction, he needs to trust you, he needs to pay attention to you. So if Teddy starts to pull, there's a couple different steps that I'll go through. So first, if he just gets a little distracted, like he sees something in the distance, I'm not gonna give a heavy correction. Instead, I'll be like, Teddy, oh, good boy. Maybe I'll use a watch me command. So watch me is just to get eye contact. Watch me. Okay, good boy. So there, he stood up, he looked me in the eye, I rewarded that. So I'm just gonna do something simple just to regain his focus. So if that works, great. There's no need to correct him. We regain some focus, and we're going to keep walking. But if Teddy started to pull, he was actually pulling towards something, at this point, I'm going to tell him no and correct him. So my correction is going to be 2 leash pops. And if I can, I want to step in, and I want those pops to be up. I'm not going to pop him because he's not doing anything wrong. So it'll be no, pop, pop. If he regains his attention, I'll say, good boy, we'll take a few steps, and then I will reward him. I don't want to reward him the moment he looks at me in this case, because then he's going to pull to look at me and get treats. Now, if he continued to pull, if that didn't work, I will do it one more time. So it's no, pop, pop. He still ignored me. No, pop, pop. Good boy. I know you didn't do anything wrong. So I'm going to get a little bit more firm with that correction. With Teddy, I'm never yanking him around. These leash pops are never about inflicting harm. It's just to regain his attention to help change his behavior. So if I corrected him twice and he continued to pull, maybe it was another dog, maybe it was a kid, he's just very, very distracted. At this point, I'm going to come to a complete stop. I'm going to get his focus, and then we almost have a little pep talk where it's like, hey, you've got to pay attention to me. And this is where we basically reach a crossroads, where if he's paying attention to me, then I go, you know what, we can keep walking. I know that you can focus on me, and I will start trying to heel again. And now if he pulls, we're going to do what some people call a corrective U-turn, where I'm literally just going to say, no, I'm going to pop him, and we're going to turn around and walk the other way. So, and I will go back and forth until he starts to focus on me. Okay. I might even throw a little zigzag motion in here. I'm just going all over the place, making sure that he understands that, hey, if I don't look at this guy, I'm going to get popped. So I don't want to pop him, but it kind of looks like this. Teddy, heel. So we'd be going, and then I might just turn into him or away from him, where it's like, oh, if I'm not paying attention, he's going to change directions. And usually if there's a distraction, I'm going to quicken my pace, and it's just back and forth, helping him understand, like, hey, I've got to pay attention. But let's say instead Teddy gets reactive. So he's barking, and it's just very overly distracting. He's overstimulated, which isn't really Teddy's MO, but he's probably going to be more reactive in the next couple weeks as he transitions. And so I would be prepared to do this. So if I see that he is just overreactive, He's barking, he's not paying attention to me, maybe he's lunging, trying to get towards something, maybe it's another dog. At this point, trying to heel past it is not gonna work. So instead, I would rather engage with Teddy. So I'm going to still turn around and get some distance away from the distraction. I'm gonna do a 180 and I'll kind of step through him. So if the distraction was right here, bark, 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 I would step through him, kind of back him up, get some distance, whether that's 10 feet, whether that's 100 feet. There's always an amount of distance where I can regain his attention. And now I'm gonna reward simple victories. Oh, you're not barking? Good boy. You're looking at me? Good boy. You're sitting? Good dog. So a lot of feedback here. If he starts doing this little bounce back and forth trying to look around me, I'm gonna tell him no. Don't be afraid to tell your dog no. He's being a little pill, it's no. And then he's sitting, okay, good boy, good dog. So I'm pairing that. I'm using my correction as well as my marker to reward him. So lots of feedback, understands when he's doing something wrong, when he's not. As he comes out of this reactive state, he's focusing on me. Then I'll open up so that we can watch the distraction. If we can stay under control here, we're gonna watch it go by. And then we can continue walking. Or I might even, if it's something in the distance that's not really moving, maybe they're stationary out there, now I might try and walk closer. And if he gets reactive, I'll step in front of him, engage with him, help him feel confident, and then we'll start going again. Teddy. I like to set up times where I can go and practice this just to build his confidence. We call it the art of doing nothing. So basically, if there's a park nearby, we're gonna go sit on a park bench and we're gonna watch the world go by. We're gonna watch joggers and bikers and kids playing, and I'm just gonna reward him for being calm, reward him for being under control, and help him build confidence by observing without interacting with the distractions. So we just wanna make sure that we recognize, okay, is he in this red zone? Is he overstimulated where he can no longer focus? Or is he still in a headspace where he can focus on me and we can just get past the distraction? So that's the heel, what to do if he pulls, and how to deal if he gets reactive, and how to engage with him. Now, that's for you. That's not how we exercise our dog. If I want to exercise Teddy, I'm going to take him on a long lead. And you can have him on a long lead to go and play at the park and chase a ball, or just go for a walk where he has space to explore and check things out. Now, being we're out in the country, we have a lot more space, and so let's see right there. Okay, outside. First I'm going to take him to the bathroom. Okay, good boy, come on. Good boy. Okay, come on. Okay, Teddy, good boy. He peed. So, what I was saying, so the long lead walk, so out here we have a lot of space. And so I start with a long lead and then we quickly move into where we can go on some off-leash walks as well, which is great. However, if you're in more of a city environment, off-leash is probably not going to be an option. And so long lead is a great way to exercise your dog. This gives him some space where he can sniff and check things out, which is very important to a dog. We almost call it more of an enrichment walk, where we go at his pace. If he wants to stop and sniff a bush, he can stop and sniff a bush. That's going to be much more beneficial to him than staying on a short leash and just walking around the block. So this leash is, or this lead is 15 feet. Which this is a great length where we can go to neighborhoods or up on campus where he's got enough space to check things out, but yet it's short enough where it doesn't take much for me just to reel him in. A 12-footer is also great. I use a 12-footer with him all the time, but the most leash that we can give him that you feel comfortable that you can still manage him, that's what I would recommend. So on this type of walk, it's hard to show in here, but you know, I'm just going at his pace. I get used to stepping over the leash, switching hands, but we're just going at his, once again, his pace. Now, he's still not allowed to pull, so anytime Teddy gets to the end of the leash, I practice his recall command. So his recall is Teddy, come. Huh. Now this is, in my opinion, your most important command, so I like to practice it a lot and make it very, very rewarding. Especially on this type of walk, he's checking something out, I call him, he gets a treat, and he gets to go back doing what he wants. So it's just very, very rewarding. So my recall is, Teddy, come. Good boy, okay. So the moment he starts coming towards me, I say, good boy. So I'm telling him he's doing the right thing and encouraging him to keep coming. Once he gets to me, I say, okay. And then he's able to go back to doing what he wants. So it's very fun for Teddy, and it's very beneficial for you. Now the benefit here is I have this long lead, so if he ignores me, I'm going to tell him no, give him a slight tug towards me, and I can help him follow through with that command. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to pretend that I called him and he ignored me. It does not take much pressure, so I would just simply say, no. Good boy. Okay. And he will cave into that pressure just like that. So it doesn't take that much. We don't have to yank him across the yard. It's just a simple no, give him a tug, and then reward him. So practice your recall command all the time. And as he's doing really well on lead, you can take him off leash. And I have a rule that if he hesitates, if he fails, he goes back on the long lead, and we're going to do it another 10 times just to make sure that he's responsive. I said this is your most important command, so it's one that I practice all the time. You can also take the family, go outside in a fenced-in area, and take turns just calling him back and forth. So it's a really fun game. He's learning to respond to all of you. Teddy, come. Good boy. Okay. He has a phenomenal recall. So just practice, practice, practice. If he fails and he's off leash, we clearly don't have a way just to grab him or pull him back towards us. So if I said, Teddy, come. Good boy. Okay. So if he was off leash and he ignored me, I'll immediately tell him no and go and get him. So I'm going to see if he'll kind of venture away. Here, maybe we'll throw a treat over that way. So, one, for demonstration purposes. Teddy, come. So here, oh, good boy. So now, no. Good boy. Notice how receptive he is to that no. I was kind of hoping that we would distract him there so that I could demonstrate that. If he ignored that no, I would then walk towards him, and once he recognized me, then I would stop walking, say, Teddy, come, have him follow me, good boy, keep walking backwards, and then reward him. So that's how I would follow through if he ignored me. If I had to get all the way to him, I would then repeat the no, maybe grab underneath his collar, hook a leash on him, and I'd say, Teddy, come, good boy, so that I could reward him here. Hopefully that made sense. That was kind of a lot right there. But Teddy's awesome. Teddy does a great job. Teddy, come. Good boy. Okay. So on this note, if you are not prepared to follow through, don't ask him to come to you. So if he's out in the backyard playing in the snow and you open the door and you call him to come and it's snowing outside, if he ignores you, you have to put on your shoes and you have to go and get him. You can't say, I'll worry about you later, because then he realizes, oh, maybe I don't have to listen. So we always need to be prepared to follow through. If I'm not prepared to follow through, I'm not going to ask for it. Teddy, come. Good boy. Okay. So, I believe that's everything. Teddy, come. Good boy. Okay. We have really enjoyed Teddy. He's a very sweet guy. So thank you for allowing us to train him. I look forward to sending him to you. I think your family's going to just love him. He's just very, very sweet, very affectionate guy. And to be quite honest with you, I think he has one of the better temperaments I've ever seen in a Cavapoo. So I think you guys got a very, very good dog. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help. But But thanks again for allowing us to train Teddy.